So welcome to Civility Week Day 2. I hope everybody had a chance. If they didn't, last night's presentation with Stephen Petro was amazing. I mean, it was more than I ever thought it was going to be. I took away so much from him. Silence is acceptance is just still like resonating with me, like when he just said those words. So thank you. So we're here for self-care. Self-care leads to greater civility, just leads to being better people. Civility, we know. I have Sarah here as well and Lewis, so they're going to kind of kick it off. But thank you for all being here. This is I'm Tricia Deloya Gandolfo, Director of Nursing, so part of the Health Science Institute, that I have some of my awesome nursing faculty here as well. And I thank you for being here. And Dean Edwin is here, Rose Dunn is here, so Joanne is here, Health Science Institute, anybody that I forgot. So thank you for joining us. So Sarah and Lewis are kind of gonna kick us off.
Perfect. And sorry, I'm in a jacket. I'm at Brookdale. It's often very cold in the offices here, so I apologize for that. But welcome to my class. And I'm going to turn it over to Lewis, who's going to read a community agreement. And Civility Week has a community agreement that is read at the start of every session because we cannot do this thing, civility, alone. One of us acting or thinking with an eye towards the greater good, in service, in an effort to lessen divides, in an effort to seeking to understand before seeking to be understood. It doesn't work if we're not kind of in it together and in community to try to reach these goals together. So I'm going to turn it over to my student Lewis, who is going to read that agreement.
Hello, I'm Louis. This is the Civility Week Community Agreement. We come together during Civility Week to enhance our understanding of and learn more about the learning and importance of civility. We commit to honest, brave, respectful conversation where participants are encouraged to speak openly, listen actively, embrace curiosity, and gather wisdom. Together, we will strive to learn and grow, listen and understand, recognize that experiences are perceived, acknowledge where power and privilege exist, and provide space for all voices to share.
Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that. So true. It is so true especially in our times today. So, all right, I just have letting in a couple more people. So I'm going to share the presentation. The only thing I'm afraid of, if I share it, all right, so I'm going to share it. If I share it in presentation mode, I don't know if I'm going to be able to see other people coming in. So
you could make me the co-host, Tricia. I'd be happy to
Oh,
volunteer to let
okay.
people in.
Okay, awesome. Participants, security. Where do I do that? I know, like under.
Go to participants, Trish.
Yeah.
And click on Judy's name.
And then click more.
Right. Thank you all.
I just learned that not too long ago,
Yeah.
too, Trish, so don't worry.
Okay. Make the co-host. Awesome. Thank you, Judy.
Okay. All right. Now I'm just admitting people.
Okay. No, not just.
Yeah, not just.
Okay. So like I said before, again, thank you for coming. Self-care leads to greater civility. And we know that we've been going through a lot, right? These last 19 months, not only COVID, we had an election that was kind of trying for America, so we sometimes overlook how we have to take care of ourselves. And that's what we're hoping to just bring some, easy tips for you all today. The Health Science Institute, we are located in MAS, and we are the nursing department, we are respiratory care, and we are radiology technology. So we are the nursing department. So I'm just trying to move forward here. There we go. We have, hopefully we have a couple of our Student Nurse Association students. That's a organization of our nursing students from our department. But I'm just gonna move you up here. We have our executive board, Ashlyn Somanello, I hope I'm saying that right, Somalino. Amber Axelson is the vice president. Lindsay Kelly is the treasurer. Patricia Lasasso is the secretary. They've shared some reflections as well too, which is also going to be part of the presentation. Nursing faculty that we have that are also going to join us in discussion: Lisa Menino, Georgia Cassidy, Christine Hogan, and Caitlin Rayton. So if you guys want to wave, Lisa, Georgia, Christine, Caitlin, they gladly, hopefully, agreed to help me out. So it wasn't just me here chatting the whole time, but just to, our objectives, we're just going to discuss the topic of self-care, how it leads to greater civility, and just some of those things that we're going to talk about: healthy eating, relaxation, emotional well-being, spiritual well-being, the importance of all of this to just make ourselves be better so that we can then be better, out in the world. So we know that we have to pay attention to our stress. And then we're going to talk about things here at Brookdale. We have so many great resources. So things of how we can find out where those are. So when we talk about civility, what is it? We keep hearing this word civility. It's really, as I have 3 kids, as I'm trying to teach them as they go into adulthood, treating others as you would want to be treated. Not only my kids, it's our nursing students. We really have to teach them, especially as nurses. We are, servants of our patients, and kindness, manners, inclusion, respect, right? Just patience, friendliness, open-mindedness, just being polite. Sometimes you talk to this younger, what are they, Gen Y? I think, what am I, Gen X? They don't know what civility is. They don't know what, respect and being polite means. So then self-care. What does self-care? We have to take care of ourselves. We keep hearing about, drink fluids, rest, go to bed, but it's also taking care of our mind, our emotions, our spiritual health, learning to say no. That's, we'll talk more about that, but, your own well-being through self-care behaviors that we're going to talk a little bit about. And then I have a short little video here, which I'm going to have to just stop share for 1 second, and then it will start playing. And I will screen share again. Okay.
Trish, we can't hear it.
You can't hear it?
No. Sorry.
That's okay.
In your audio settings, you have to share your audio with us also.
Yeah, see, now I practiced with Charlotta and I had that. Okay.
And we end up taking too much on. This leads to
Now,
stress,
okay.
leaving us feeling.
All right, so let me get back to her. Sorry about that, everybody. I didn't realize you had to.
Self-care is when an individual
Okay.
like you and me take
We good?
responsibility for making daily choices about our lifestyle. And this may include from the very basic things such as brushing our teeth, eating healthily, choosing exercise for our own well-being. It can also mean engaging in healthy behaviors that are good for our body and our soul, and refraining from unhealthy behaviors such as using drugs, drinking too much alcohol, gambling, or retail therapy. Believe it or not, these things only make us feel good for a very short term. Saying no when things become too much is equally important. For many of us, saying no is not easy, but if we don't take care of ourselves and if we don't say no, we end up taking too much on. This leads to stress, leaving us feeling overwhelmed, which can affect our physical health as well as our emotional and psychological well-being. Why is self-care important? Nurturing our body, our mind, and our spirit requires us to show ourselves some compassion and encourages us to be vulnerable with others, like, for example, asking for help when we need it. Embracing this concept can be difficult for so many of us, but if we don't, we run the risk of feeling depleted and empty. Investing is self-care. When you invest in yourself, you're looking after yourself. Remember, this is taking responsibility to care for yourself, spending time and effort on yourself. This rejuvenates and it energizes you. It's important that you take into account those things that are good for you, not just your body, not just your mind, but also the whole of you. So take some time to indulge in your interests. What do you like doing? This demonstrates your worth. When you put aside time for things that you enjoy doing, it demonstrates your worth. It leads to improved self-esteem and a more positive outlook on the world. It teaches you a lot about yourself and provides you with insight into what you need in order to be the very best version of you.
Just gonna go back. Okay. First of all, I just love her voice. That just calms me down right away. So just a a quick message about, again, how important self-care is. Maintaining self-care and supporting mental health. As I said earlier, we just went through and are still going through a very trying time. March of 20, I think it was Monday, March 10th, I believe, March 9th, March 10th, we were sitting in our faculty meeting in MAS in the fishbowl, in the glass, as we call it, the glass rooms, and everybody's cell phones started going off that the first patient had tested positive and had gone to Riverview's ER. So that was kind of the first. There was a lady at Bayshore that was maybe positive, but that was kind of the first, that had come to Monmouth County. And Brookdale closed that Wednesday. So that's when our whole lives kind of turned around, that word pivot. You had to pivot, right? Luckily we were on spring break, which wasn't really a spring break for any of us faculty. And we all kept saying, oh, 2 weeks, for 2 weeks, 2 weeks, it's going to be 2 weeks, it's going to be 3 weeks, the virus is going to go away and we're going to be back to normal. And we all know, what happened with toilet paper and Windex and Clorox, and everything. So we have a lot of change and uncertainty lately. And a lot of these things, I was dealing with 3 kids that were learning from home. I was trying to teach from home. Luckily, I didn't have small children. So anybody that did were dealing with that as well too. And we all needed a break. And I don't think we've even gotten it yet, but just supporting our mental health, taking care of ourselves, getting outside, getting some air, definitely I found as April, May, I had to take a break from that news, social media. We had Governor Cuomo, New York, speaking first, and we had Governor Murphy speaking and Dr. Fauci, and just but taking a break, making ourselves a priority, just kind of getting outside and getting away from the rising numbers and the positive cases and the deaths and, but that definitely the act of self-care is a huge thing, but definitely over the last 19 to 20 months, it's really had an impact on all of us. So I don't know if Patricia is here. If you are, you could just unmute yourself, but we had some excellent reflections from, like I said, our Student Nurse Association. So if she's not here, I'll just go ahead and read it. This was our SNA Secretary, Patricia Lasasso. Self-care for me, before, during, and after the pandemic, will always be about organization and routine. Someone, Patricia, were you here? Did I start? No? Well, it may not be glamorous. It keeps me grounded. Whenever I feel lost or out of sorts, I can always go back to my to-do list. For me, structure and routine is great, keeping me on track and managing potential anxiety. I also find spending time outdoors in nature to be incredibly therapeutic and revitalizing. Going for a hike with a friend or my significant other, talking about what we may be dealing with in our lives is a great way to work through some of the feelings we may have bottled up inside. Lastly, don't forget to carve out some time each week with each other, just for you. Maybe you just want a night off. I can't see that whole thing. Oop, I'm sorry.
Trish Amber is here from the SNA.
Oh,
She's
great.
willing-
Okay.
Yeah, she's willing to take over if you
Okay.
want to read.
Here, so wait a sec. Let me go back to. That slide. I'm sorry. Okay, great. So just a night off being shown on Netflix or take some time for it. So Lindsay, this was Lindsay. Amber, do you want to?
Yeah, I
continue?
can read it. That's fine.
All right, perfect.
Lindsay, she said, ensure that you make time for yourself to relax. Engaging in self-care routines like exercising, cathartic activities, sorry, butchered that, eating healthy and staying hydrated can make a world of difference in regards to your stress levels. I also make sure that I always get 8 hours of sleep a night, if not more. We are not able to effectively deal with stress if we don't have the energy to do so. Plus, who doesn't love a nap every now and then?
Absolutely. Thank you. Here's our next one.
And this is Ashlyn, our president. She said, during the pandemic, I worked full-time in emergency department while in nursing school. I wound up starting a charcuterie business as a creative outlet. I made sure to work out at home and take my dog on long walks to keep my body moving. I also tried my best to meal prep weekly, so I wasn't eating all the donated food regularly at work. I stuck to a vitamin and supplement routine and allowed my body to rest and sleep when I felt burnt out. I felt that adequate rest was the most important of all of these things, even when sometimes I needed extra. It was a huge benefit to my mental and physical well-being. Before COVID, I used to allow sleep and rest to take the back burner when I was very stressed and had a lot going on. During COVID, I changed that. I found that the more rested I was, the more productive I was in shorter amounts of time. This did wonders for my well-being.
Awesome.
This is the Amber president. During the pandemic, it was hard to keep myself on track due to all the new adjustments. I found myself switching up my schedule and going from being extremely productive to sleeping all day. I started to focus on my self-care during this troubling time by going to bed by 11 p.m. and setting my alarm for 10 a.m. and going on a run with my friend around the lake in Belmar. This set course for me to have a normal sleep schedule and give me the energy I need to focus on taking care of my body and give myself time during the day to study and cook healthier meals.
Awesome. Did anybody want to share anything? Certainly don't have to, but if anybody wanted to share other things they did.
I'm just jealous that you got so much sleep.
I totally agree.
A lot of great advice from the students. I'm impressed.
To see the student perspective, absolutely,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, so important. I was just talking to a student. It's quality, not quantity, when you're studying. And I think it goes hand in hand with the rest and nutrition and all the other outlets. So it's really
100%.
wonderful that you shared.
I
Thank
think,
you, Amber.
I'm sorry, I think Sarah is raising her hand,
Mhm.
Trish.
Mhm.
Oh, I was just going to add that I echoed some of the time for nature or the time for Netflix and I think it helped me differently from before the pandemic because I was in a rougher place, I think, during the pandemic, and I needed to be more intentional about my self-care. So it was maybe some of the same activities, but two things were different. If I was gonna watch a Netflix show, it helped me to say, like, this is my time for Netflix. Like, this is my time to enjoy, even if it's TV that is not the most educational, but it's my joy. And I'm gonna put my phone down and I'm gonna let myself clear my head and relax into that show. And then if it was something like a nature hike or whatever it else might be, something I've adopted now is that I set aside a time for self-care during the week. And that means it's not a time that I can take a meeting, and it's not a time that I can run an errand. And it's
Right.
not a time like that 2 to 4. And for me, it's on Thursdays is my time, and whatever I choose to do with it that week. And I try to plan, I can't supplement with busy things. It's that sacred. And those intentionality pieces have helped me carry out those activities and get more fulfillment and rejuvenation from them.
100%. Thank you. And I saw Naya, somebody else had their hand, or?
Oh, to like share what we do for self-care?
Sure. Yeah, I think I saw that there was a hand.
Yeah.
Up. Yeah, you wanted to say, sure.
Yeah, for me, I definitely like to indulge in, like my passions. Like, for example, I like writing. So like for me, going into writing like really helps. And also, like being able to like have like a little thing that I get to control that no one else can. Because
Yeah.
sometimes part of self-care is being able to be in control of your
Yeah.
sphere of dominion. So I feel like that definitely helps.
Yeah, that's a really good one. Journaling.
Good point.
Yeah, that's a really good one. Awesome. So we just are going to go through like some of the things we highlighted, just to a little bit more in depth. Lisa, we have a couple other of us are going to jump in. So.
Okay, so everyone has an outlet, and we all know that healthy eating and snacking is very important. So we need to eat right. We have busy lives, and sometimes we resort to drive-throughs and eating unhealthy. So we need to be mindful of what we eat. So mindful eating, and a good way to do that is to plan your meals, whether it's for the day or for the week. To stay hydrated, water is so very important. Plan those healthy snacks, and we must treat ourselves occasionally, right? Stop to Dairy Queen doesn't hurt anyone. So
No.
we have to treat ourselves, right?
We do know as the students are starting to come back on campus, and pre-COVID, there was a lot of group study together, and I see that back again. And one of my kids is now in school and in college, and they're studying, and it's just junk food. It's goldfish. Well, not goldfish is junk food, but it's just anything they can, chips, and right.
And I'm guilty of that with teaching, from
Right.
home. I would, wouldn't have a cup of popcorn, it would be a bag.
Right.
So I'm guilty of that.
Yeah,
So
I
we need
know.
to be mindful.
The
Mindful of what we
COVID, what is it? The COVID-15 or the COVID-19? Everybody was saying that.
eat. Right.
So,
So balanced
Right.
diet, your fruits, your grains, your vegetables, protein, drinking plenty of water, everything that you need to do to be healthy.
Yeah. All right. Next slide.
Professor?
Yes.
Professor, I have something to add. I read somewhere, I can't remember where, I have so much reading for school to do, but about drinking water. How much you use the allowance for the day, what you should be drinking, glasses of water or something like that. And then it said like start your day off with at least drink 2 glasses of water when you get up in the morning. At least you have 2 in, and then 1 at lunchtime, or something like that. So you already have 3, so you already have half of what you're supposed to be drinking a day. So actually, I started that consciously, to make sure that when I get up in the morning that I start off with 2 glasses of water, and I already know that, okay, by lunch, I'll have my 3rd, and then I'm already halfway through,
That's
what
great.
I need for the day. So yes,
That is great.
hydration.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Thank
It
you for
is.
sharing.
Skin looks better.
Right?
So, yeah. Thank you.
Hydration, very important. Okay, so to continue on, you need to find your support system, or what we call your village. You need to find that. So whether it be you're a member of a book club, a walking group, you said going outdoors, hiking is very beneficial. Group activities, perhaps you play a sport or a club activity. Learn a new skill and or a hobby, and manage those unhealthy relationships. Avoid toxic people, very important, especially during these unprecedented times. You don't want to be around gloom and doom, right? You want to be around, choose to be around happy people, right? Choose to be around smiling people. Life is hard enough. We don't need to be brought down by toxic people. So remove yourself from that environment, be in control. And obviously ask for help, don't be ashamed. Let people know that you need some help. We all need help at some time. Call a trusted friend or a family member and talk about things that are bothering you or troubling you. Right? Choose who you spend your time with today. Spend time with people who are enthusiastic and positive. Once again, life is hard. We don't need it to be harder. So choose to be around people that make you smile, that make you laugh. It's your choice, so choose wisely. Intentionally reconnect with someone you lost touch with or have unresolved conflict with. That was a great time for myself during the pandemic to really get in touch to my aging aunts. I have such a large family. To pick up that phone. We get so busy in our daily lives, right? And we tend to lose track of truly what's important to us. So pick up that phone, reach out to people that you haven't heard from. Go out to lunch with a friend, go on a walk with a friend. Schedule a regular date night with your significant other. So very important, and like Sarah said, good for you, Sarah, that you set aside 2 hours a week, and that's your time. And I try very hard to hold on to that as well, to do the same. Take a road trip with your siblings or a friend, family member. So you're in control, find your support system, find your village, and stick to it.
Great. Georgia?
Yes, hi. So fresh air and exercise, and we're hearing a lot about that today. Everybody's talking about getting outside and walking. And we are so blessed that we live in such a gorgeous area where we can enjoy the fresh air, whether it's at the beach or whether it's at a park. And, I love it all. I live in Point Pleasant Beach and we have the boardwalk and there's a lot of action there. And sometimes just being out and seeing the children so joyful on the boardwalk and the rides, it just makes you happy. The other thing around here, which I particularly love, is the Monmouth County Park System. A lot of times the park rangers and the park nationalists, they have like free educational things, like it could be, identifying, bird calls or something like that. And people who know me, they know that I like to walk, but a lot of times I am on horseback. So it's actually my horse doing all the walking. And, but it's just part of the whole vibe, being with him, being outside, listening to the birds, dog parks. We do have our dog parks, and it's a great way to socialize, and it's just wonderful. Doing stretching exercises. When we think about stretching exercises, a lot of times we think about yoga. I know that the college has had some wonderful classes here. So yoga, breathing exercises. If you feel physically fatigued, And I know we're talking a lot about COVID, and for some people, it was even just the mental fatigue. Do whatever you need to help you to get out of that fatigue. Talking a lot about sleep. I know that my colleagues who work close with me, they know that I need my sleep, and they know that I take my naps. It's just something that, you know, that I need to do. But it's just so wonderful, the area that we live in, that we can really take advantage of that. And also going to bed early. It is very important that you get your restorative sleep. It's very, very important.
Yeah, we take that for granted, I think. You know,
We
so
do.
we really do.
Relaxation techniques. So we do know that incorporating relaxation techniques in our lives, right, it decreases the stress. So whether it's meditation, guided imagery, deep breathing, and again, and we were talking about yoga. And it's funny. I mean, people already talked about, you know, binge watching on Netflix. You know, I'm right there with you watching The Crown. You know what I mean? It's a way to just get away. You're not thinking about certain things, and you're just enjoying yourself. Music, you know, music. We want to calm ourselves down, and we're listening to a slower tempo music, right? Helps to quiet us, quiet our mind, relaxes our muscles. But, you know, we think about times where, you know, maybe we want to be a little bit more joyous. You know, since I've been 7 years old, if I hear Crocodile Rock, you know what I mean? I want to like rock out to it, you know? Again, it's very relaxing. Aromatherapy. Sometimes we hear people really talk about essential oil therapy, and that's what we're talking about, and the whole natural plant extracts. Again, it's to increase the health of our body and our mind and our spirit. And again, pet therapy, you know, the science has shown that, you know, being with pets, right, it decreases blood pressure, it helps to release endorphins. They have a very calming effect, all right? And also we know that it also, if you're feeling, you know, stiff, that pet therapy, being around the animals, it actually helps to decrease pain.
Yeah, I work at Riverview, and I know Monmouth and other nursing faculty, Jersey Shore, that we do have a pet therapy program, which has been hugely successful. It did stall, but it's back now since the pandemic, and people loved it. Patients loved it. The families loved it. You know, they increased it. It used to be 1 day a week, then it was up to, you know, I think almost 4 days a week with dogs coming in, and they were starting to bring in some cats, but it really was a huge, you know, a great thing. And Christine.
Hi, everybody. So talking about the emotional self-care. So as most of us here are in a discipline where we're a service to others, starting off with, you know, learn to say no, I think is difficult for a lot of us. But we do need to say no when doing something is impacting our life and the people around us. So just learn to say no. Again, schedule me time. We talked about that on your calendar and planner, and I just love that people here are actually, you know, carving out time for themselves. That is a wonderful thing to do. Reward yourself with completing small tasks, and I like this. Sometimes we can get wrapped up in something online, or even watching a Netflix series, or maybe some time on the phone, you know, maybe with Facebook. So after you do a task, it's certainly wonderful to reward yourselves. Using online tutorials to learn something new. This was great. You know, learning, I think YouTube wasn't around when, you know, I was growing up, but I find myself telling my two daughters often, you know, just look on YouTube. You know, you have to sew something or do a hem or cook something new. We have online videos for everything these days. And I personally just find that absolutely amazing, that people have the time to record themselves doing something that they're very knowledgeable to share with others. So I love, you know, YouTube videos. Developing a relaxing evening ritual, I think, again, some of us, especially in nursing, we have a little crazy schedules. So sometimes this really needs to be carved into our calendars and to make sure that we do get a little relaxing time during the evenings. Allowing yourself to express your feelings, again, in a safe and appropriate environment. I think that during the pandemic, we didn't have the opportunity to speak to everybody who may be our network. So getting back into that routine is a very important thing. Mindful exercises is something that we talked about. Adult coloring, I love the fact that now in our adulthood that it's socially acceptable to color. I get a kick out of that, and then we found a coloring book in our office yesterday when we were cleaning it out. So I really just smile at that. Remind yourself of the good stuff in life by writing a list of things that you're grateful for. Personally, like I always think about my day and just think what was the good and especially what was the bad, and then how I can do something differently tomorrow. So I think that that's very important, that we do have good stuff that happens each and every day. It might be small, but we do need to remind ourselves that good things are all around us. Take a moment to allow your feelings to be present without judging them. So it's okay to have an off day or an off moment. Tomorrow is a new day. And then stop being your hardest critic. We, again, are a lot of us in a profession that we are at a service to others, and sometimes we are our worst critic. So again, just look at your day, look what you're grateful for, and make improvements as you can.
I know that during we keep going back to the pandemic, but during that true, real, critical shutdown, meeting with the students was a huge outlet. Sometimes I didn't even teach, we just talked, and they need to talk to each other. They were all working overtime, forced overtime, deaths, vents, someone that was perfectly fine in the bed 1 minute was vented and was dying, 2 hours later, and they needed to share that and they needed to be heard. And we did too, even on our faculty meetings, via Zoom. And then we said, we had a couple nights with the Health Science Institute where we had a game night, and we just poured a glass of wine and just sat and talked. And I'm sure many of us had, spring was the holidays. The spring holidays were virtual. We had a lot of birthdays. There were baby showers. There was engagement parties via Zoom. Who would have ever thought that? So it really was just a time that, thank God for Zoom. We should have bought stock in Zoom, right?
I know, right.
2020. Helen, you had your hand up.
Yes, this is something I came across in my reading, because the students referred to this, and all of you presenting did, the need for a good night's sleep. And if we do a lot of screen time within an hour before we go to sleep, that can interfere with sleep. And I did notice that even reading on my, I'm having a mental blip. I'm in
Kindle, your Kindle.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
My Kindle was very different than reading from a book. I'm reading from a book and I would sleep better than reading on my Kindle. Now, it wasn't, dramatically different where I was up hours, but I did notice that. And I know for a fact, if I'm working on my computer late at night and shut it off and go to bed, that guaranteed is not going to be a good night's sleep for me. So just something else to think about with these self-care items that you guys
Shutting it all down.
Really, really great ideas.
Yeah.
Great.
Elizabeth.
Hello. So yeah, adding on, I feel like screen time should really be limited, or you should reduce the amount of hours on the screen, especially by what I mean is like social media and stuff like that. Like I honestly did a little cleanse from social media, and like I'm only going on social media right now, like on the weekend or like when I'm done with all my assignments for the week. Like, I don't like to be on social media during like the school week, I would say. And I feel like that has helped in a bit. I don't know. I feel like social media sometimes can be damaging to you
Yeah.
instead of beneficial.
Totally agree. I mean, when I was growing up, we didn't hear about the parties till on Monday when we got back at school. And now you see them live happening, right? So you're like, why didn't I get invited? You know, and we all took a break yesterday, right? Facebook
Right.
went down, and they were talking on the news this morning, like some were saying, oh my God, you know, I had to cut the cord. And somebody else said, no, it was like the best, I don't even know what it was, 6 hours. I didn't even hear about it till work, but you know, the best 7 hours that they had, because they didn't feel like they were pressured to check Twitter and, you know, and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, great, all great suggestions. And Christine, you're gonna.
Yep. And then just here's a little, you know, fun activity, a self-care plan. And again, just some things that we've talked about that you can do, you know, read more, talk to friends, take meds daily if needed. Physical activity, again, is great. The fresh air. We've had some great weather recently. So getting out, breath of fresh air, staying hydrated, you know, skincare, and then a nice hot bath, you know, that's good for everybody. Helping others, again, always very satisfying when you lend a helping hand. We talked about the coloring book and doing art or being creative, creating something new. And then here is a little worksheet, you know, how are you feeling this week? And you can do this at any age, answering these questions. You know, this week has been good or bad for me and why. I was excited, you know, why. I had the opportunity to do hopefully something new and something that you enjoyed, and then something I didn't expect. So what, you know, what came across your plate that you just didn't expect, and was it good and bad, and would you move forward with that? So again, just taking care of yourself.
And as we know, in nursing and other disciplines, open-ended questions, right? To ask ourselves, not only who we're, you know, kid comes home from school, how was school today? Good, fine, you know, one word answers, but to try to even ask ourselves, you know, to not just, well, that was okay, just to try to express and to get into conversations with others to, you know, share more of that. So. And Caitlin.
Sorry.
Okay.
So I'm going to talk about spiritual self-care. And I think a lot of people, when they hear the word spiritual, automatically go to religion. And certainly spiritual self-care can mean religion. And for a lot of people, it does. But it doesn't have to mean religion. Spirituality really means putting what is important to you, your values, and your beliefs into action, and investing in what is important to you and what brings you joy and what brings you calm. So a big element of spiritual self-care is kind of taking a look at yourself and even really doing a lot of the things that we already talked about, yoga and meditation. Meditation has a lot of research behind it, how it helps you connect with yourself, your mind, your body, and your spirit. It helps with depression. It helps with stress. It also helps with pain and asthma and heart disease. So this is all part of spirituality. Another big part of spirituality is helping others. And this goes directly hand in hand with civility, uplifting someone else's spirit or doing something for somebody, but kind of keeping it secret. I've seen recently on social media these posts of people who drive around the city and they pop open their window and they just give somebody a compliment. And you can see the people who they compliment, sort of a weight lifts off their shoulders just from, wow, this random stranger is giving me a compliment. And so it works spiritually for that person and for the person giving the compliment. And again, like I said, hand in hand with civility. Also, all these other things, choosing yourself, giving yourself time to maintain your spiritual self-care is really important and will help with civility. And I
Yeah,
kind of
paying it forward, right?
yeah,
So,
paying it forward. And what I kind of wanted to add to in kind of just sitting here and listening to what everyone's been saying is that the pandemic has really sort of forced us to take a step back and look at self-care. I think because we've all reached a point where we were sort of at the bottom and we didn't know what to do. So these social media breaks and time for sleep and time for exercise. And I know I took more walks in, you know, the past year than I had in my entire life prior to that. And now that things are slowly, very slowly starting to get back to normal, it's important that we don't forget and continue to take walks and continue to get sleep and continue to, you know, maintain the spirituality and healthy diets because I think it really promotes civility and it all comes full circle.
yeah, so true. Like traffic is getting worse again and people are back to work and I don't know, people.
Social media is out of control. I'm about
Yes.
to get away from it again.
People's tempers are bad. You would have thought everybody would have, I don't know, I would have thought chilled out a little bit. So we've talked about a lot of these awesome things and Brookdale, we are so lucky to have this support. These are some great ways right from the website for students, 24 hours, 7 days a week, you know, emergency resources, Monmouth Medical Center right in our backyard has, you know, 24-hour psychiatric services needed. This is just a portion of what's here, but you just go to the website and many of our departments here, just some other faculty and staff, and then just the websites, you know, the links are right here as well too, but we really have excellent support here at Brookdale. These were some student support service flyers that we have hanging here. I've seen them around in the halls as well too. There's just so much out there that we have, and we just need to promote and make students and staff be aware that we have it because we're lucky to have all these great people here. And that's just the other one, the mental health. So many resources here on campus. Housing, you know, the Fulfill mobile unit comes at least once a month that I know of. And we have the Helping Hands and disability, educational centers, campus police, obviously we know. So just many different resources. And, you know, just the take home message that we wanted to give to the Health Science Institute, the nursing department, just like everyone was saying, self-care can sometimes, you know, just be this cliche, oh, take care of yourself, go home, rest. But it also can be a lifesaver. You have to just take care of yourself so that you can then help others, take care of others. We get one life, right? We get one trip around the sun. We get one shot to do all this. So we really have to take care of ourselves in order to be better for others. Self-care helps that sense of groundedness, the peace, the calm, and improves ourselves, improves the way we think about ourselves, and then in turn treat others. And that's what civility is all about, being respectful, being polite, just act with manners. It's just see some of these things on the news, they were talking last night, Stephen Petro, about the cancel culture. And I hadn't heard what he said about the council culture. But I think with so much screen time and so much social media and hiding behind those screens, people are just rude and just mean to each other. And it's sometimes just so surprising. So, and Jane, you have your hand up.
Hi, I'm going to unmute. Thank you for doing this. I think one of the things I've come to appreciate so much about this Civility Week on the presentation last night and today is this act of mindfulness and being aware and taking that moment to stop, recognizing my own stress, thinking about how I'm reacting and how that gets perceived. I think that leads to the empathy and compassion that we need to be a more civil society. And so I really appreciate the organization of this week. I appreciate the presentations. I take what you say to heart. Self-care is always one of those things that I think that because I perceive myself as a caregiver, it's harder to receive that, and even for myself. And so I ignore that. My particular weakness, in addition to food, is learning to say it's time to stop working. It's turn it all off and pay attention to these other things that I care about. And I appreciate that. I think it's important for all of us. So thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Amy.
I also wanted to say thank you. This has been incredible. I have worked here at Brookdale for a long time. For a long time of that long time, I was in the psych department. So I know all about the idea of self-care, but I also know how very hard it is to force yourself to take care of yourself and make sure that you follow these guidelines and you know, just you get so caught up in the day-to-day. And like you, Tricia, I have kids as well. And, you know, you just get caught up in all of that and yourself and their stuff and everything else. And then, but it is so unbelievably important, because just from a psychological standpoint, we know that we cannot help anyone else take care of themselves unless we're taking care of ourselves first. And Jane also brought up an excellent point that there's just so much other stuff going on that gets in the way. And we just, you know, it doesn't take long to just say a kind word to someone, or just one little thing to just say hello, or, you know, and I always say to people, well, not always, but since the pandemic has started, I now always say I'm smiling, because you can't see me smiling anymore because I'm always wearing a mask, but that's my
true.
thing. I'm not one of those people who says hello to every person as I pass by them. I smile at people. It's just what I do. But nobody would know that anymore because of this. And so I feel like I need to get it like tattooed on here or something.
That's so true.
It really, everything that you've talked about in here is just been fabulous. And I just wanted to say thank you. And, you know, it's just been great. So thank you. And thank everyone for all their contributions.
Yeah, we're lucky here at Brookdale that we're a family. You know, we really are. We have a great community in Monmouth County, Ocean County. We really are a family.
Yeah.
So, Joanne.
Hi, thanks Trish and your students and everyone that participated. Caitlin brought up a good comment about like continuing the you know, self-care, or if you stopped, you know, but like coming back face to face. I don't know if anyone else has felt this, but I feel very overwhelmed. I feel exhausted. You know, it's a big change. So I need to like reconnect with myself again, get
We had
the
to put
rest.
shoes back on.
I'm
we had to
drinking my
put
water.
pants back on, right? We had to find clothes.
Like the hundreds of emails. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I need to prioritize. Yeah, again, like I'm getting myself burnt out again. Yeah. But thank you for the reminder. I'm glad I came and
Good.
yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Anne Marie.
Hi, everybody. Great conversation. I feel that in my life, I've been truly blessed. And every day I try to do some sort of act of kindness towards someone else. And it doesn't necessarily mean that I know that person. But I can tell you that absolutely doing something selfless absolutely makes you feel better. And I pretty much thank God every day that I have my health and my family is healthy, and I work at a great place with wonderful people. And last night really was a culmination of great things that this community college can do for each other.
Yes.
And I just wanted to say, absolutely speak kind words or do some sort of, can be the smallest thing. It does make you feel better knowing that you made somebody feel better. So
It's the simplest message that we, as nurses and health institute and, you know, all the disciplines, we teach our students, do unto others as you would want done to you. Just treat that person like it's your brother, mother, or sister. It's not that hard. It doesn't take any more energy to just be nice. I don't know. So we're hoping that this, right, Sarah? I know you have your hand raised. We're hoping that this message gets out there. So
Yeah, 100%. And I'm sorry to speak again, but it was just so beautiful and amazing to see your department come together like you did today and share and play off one another. And you can see you genuinely care about and respect each other. It's such a model, and it's just awesome to see. And I just wanted to say one more thing for students who are probably overwhelmed with a ton of responsibilities. And sometimes when I speak about healthcare, self-care, I realize I'm overwhelming them with more that it feels like, when am I going to do that? Or how am I going to do that? Or yes, I'm stressed because I can't sleep. And one piece of advice maybe is, if some things today spoke to you, like if it's a walk or if it's a bath or if it's trying yoga, just pick a couple things, right? And make them routine, and, commit that you're gonna, maybe 2 weeks, you'll integrate one thing each day, a little gift to yourself in the same way, and do that little experiment and give that present to yourself. Don't try to do it all or feel like you have to do so many things to give yourself self-care. It's just too much and can't be done. Little by little, right? And add into your schedule one thing a day, and you might feel a real lift overall.
yeah, what was the thing during pandemic where I was like, oh, I didn't clean out my basement like everybody said, or I didn't learn no bread that everybody was making, or learn another language, right? Like, so yes, small, keep it simple. And Judy.
Yes. One of the things I loved Sarah's sacred time. And I think that that's the tip that I'm taking away, that there are times in my day that are sacred to me. And I have a tendency to answer student emails at all hours of the night. And I have to set a boundary. That's the other thing I'm going to do, where my time, I have to have some me time or time with my husband, to watch The Big Bang Theory, which we're almost done, to go through that. So I wanted to mention that. And I also wanted to say to students that if you don't think you have enough time, one of the things, I teach a college success course, and one of the assignments for this week was to look at your time, record every single thing that you do, and you will find that there are spaces in the day that you could put me time in that maybe you're not thinking about, that there might be some little holes in there that you might be able to do, like Sarah said, just one little thing. And lastly, I am available for hugs. I tend to come in the college 3 or 4 days a week. But if you ever need a hug, I am in room 141 of the library, and you can, wear your mask, but I am available for hugs.
That's awesome. That's so awesome.
Great.
Did anybody else? I don't know if anybody else we have.
Trish.
Yeah.
Trish, I know I didn't give you any literature, but Carol and I are certified smoke and censation therapists. If anyone wants any literature information, they can contact the respiratory care department.
Awesome.
So to be
Yeah. That's awesome. So to just wrap up, we know the Queen, Oprah, when she says it, like it has to happen, right? So you get a car. I wish I could say that to everybody. You get a car, you get a car. But so we'll just we'll finish up with Oprah. So this can everybody hear it? Okay, good. This is quick.
The truth is, you don't have anything to give that you don't have. So you have to keep your own self full. That's your job. You know, one of my daughters is here today from Oprah Winfrey Leadership Academy. Stand up, Shade, so everybody can see you. You're going to end your first year soon. Oh my God, it's first year. I say to my girls all of the time that your real work is to figure out where your power base is and to work on the alignment of your personality, your gifts that you have to give with the real reason why you're here. That's the number one thing you have to do, is to work on yourself and to fill yourself up and keep your cup full. Keep yourself full. Now, I used to be afraid of that. I used to be afraid, particularly from people who say, oh, she's so full of herself. She's so full of herself. And now I embrace it. I consider it a compliment that I am full of myself. Because only when you're full, I'm overflowing, my cup runneth over. I have so much to offer and so much to give. And I am not afraid of honoring myself. You know, it's miraculous when you think about it. First of all, for me, my father and mother never married. They had sex one time underneath an oak tree because she was wearing a poodle skirt in 1953. And my dad, to this day, says, I want to know what's under that skirt. That's what I want to know. He wanted to know what was under the skirt. They didn't really have a relationship. She wanted one, but you know, he went under the skirt and then that was it. And one time under the oak tree, bam, Renaissance.
Woman is born. It happened.
That's why I know my life is bigger than that. My life has to be bigger, as yours is, bigger than a poodle skirt. It's much bigger. The design, the reason why I'm here is much bigger than, oh, I think I want to see what's under there. So the ability to take care of that, to honor yourself and that which is greater than yourself, that which was the reason for your being here. There's no selflessness in that, because only through that do you have the ability to offer yourself, your whole self, your full expression of who you are to the rest of the world.
Oops, I'm trying to get to my next slide here. All right, I'm just going to stop share for a second. And then I think our last slide, I'm sorry. That's really our presentation. Just to reiterate, you know, that's our take home. That's what we just all said. We have to take care of ourselves so that we can, you know, be civil. So that here's our commitment, honest, brave, you know, to speak openly, listen actively. And if we are better people, if we are taking care of ourselves, we can be better for others. You know, really, that's it. It seems simple, but the message is huge. These were some of the references that we used. YouTube was Oprah, but you know, again, thank you for joining us. This was a really great conversation. Just good to be together. I'll stop sharing now so we can kind of all see each other, but anybody that wants to share certainly can. We actually did run over an hour, so okay, but This was really great. So I appreciate everyone for coming, taking a little bit of time out of their day. I lied. I did not give you time back into your day, so I apologize for that. But, you know, do something good for yourselves today and try to make it something that you schedule in, like we said. Schedule it like it's going to work or going to the grocery store or answering an email. Schedule time for you. So,
Great.
yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you, Trishi.
Yeah, you're welcome, Ishi.
Is everybody still?
Yeah,
Call me
we'll
when you
recording.
call me.
Okay.
Okay, bye.